Hello, everybody. Welcome to Dework PBL. We just went through our first agenda item, and now we are back to going through the course. The last time we left off was how to manage spaces. And we had a bit of struggle there, and now the guide is updated. Right now we have 5 people with us, including me, and Ayo is the only one in this step. We just handed in the link to find a way to add a backlog, and while we are going to continue to the next steps. So the next lesson, how to integrate Dework with Discord. And here we have some presentational guidelines. There are no action items to do here, but it shows where the integration are, what you can do with it, and some info about it. Also, the playground space is integrated with Discord channel called Dework PBL Workgroup. So if we start creating tasks, we should start seeing our own information. Let's see if as we continue the course, we will start seeing that. But for now, this is about integrations. And if there's some other, like there is not too much details because we rarely use Team Ambassador program, but there's a link to the Dework guides too if you want to look more into it. So yeah, once integrations are you're happy with it on your space, we skipped it. Tevo task overview. And so here we just go through what tasks even can entail. And this is example from somebody else from already existing work. Title of rewards. The statement that is simply defines the desired outcome for a name that can be used to identify task. There are few actually rules. And let's see, task submission requirements. Yeah, so I think this document explains a bit more deeply what needs to on the task. There are more guiding questions, but for example, some custom made stuff. Okay, we don't really go to this into yet, but there is a difference between what we put in Dework for Ambassador and what in general people put into Dework. So here it explains the Dework features, but later on the somewhere here, project meeting, custom management features. Here we have the full view into how the rewards on dates are formatted on the task itself to make it integratable with treasury system. Right now it's like without treasury. It basically describes status, assignee, priority, task point tags, and reviewers in general. There are 4 no action items there, just a general overview. But the next one, how do we create Dework task template? Here we have first action item to follow the steps below to create a new template in Dework. So everybody in their space, check if you have an option to create your templates. You can see from the guide that you should have an option here. And if you don't, then let me know. Once you navigate and open this setting, then you will see a template list. Right now, as an example, I show Process Guild 1. As for the playground, everybody probably has this kind of empty template. If you look at my work, let's see, did I do a template when I slowed a little? Yes, there is my template task. Yeah, once you find your place, where to make a template. And then on this guide, we have all the like copy-pasted information. So title, copy-paste this one. Description, also you can copy-paste this one. This will link back to this course. And soup tasks, then each soup task are copy-pasted separately. So in the end, you basically have something looking like this. And then throughout the rest of the course, we basically are completing our own template. Once you have copy pasted all your stuff over, click to save template and assign yourself as a reviewer. Click save when you're done. And then it shares a little bit how to use the template. And you can already use the template, I think, but probably the next lesson will do that too. So another thing with these models is sometimes people don't go with the sequence, and you're just like, you're like wondering how do you set the permission, or how do you do a template, or what you can, how the tags were used. Any of that information you can simply click and find your appropriate model or information you want. Yeah, before I move on, let's see how far are others.
I think just don't only have the option to create the task template. There's also a suggestion template, because on the screenshot here, the screenshot here, we just have yeah, you see, there's another option to create suggestion template here. So I think we need to capture that in the document.
Yeah, so that's a good point. This is something we usually like disable. Yeah, this one. But we didn't really cover that at all, how to disable that. So maybe this could be a lesson. Because it is an extra information that may confuse and adds buttons that we don't use. Then maybe we need to then be more clear about task templates. This is something we can do. This yellow one, I put it as an optional idea. Yeah, we don't have at all this kind of like a general setting thing. Maybe we should have a lesson about space settings. We have Dework spaces, and probably somewhere here we could say that once you have created your space, this is how it looks like. And then next lesson could be space settings or something. Filtering and sorting is also, I could be stay a standalone, but it's also a bit of settings.
My mic, is it working now?
Oh no, I'm just refreshing and seeing who has what.
Yeah, I was actually creating template, so it took a little more time than I thought.
Looks like Gorga has the template. Let's see if it looks as right. Yep, we have copy pasted information, assignees, everything is fine here. I start to see in to do.
I think I've done mine now. You can check again.
And another thing, the Dework requires refresh if you want to sync up with others. Well, it's unclear if Photogee is here. So we do have 3 people going on. So let's continue. So once we have the task, then you already probably felt it that you need to assign somebody. And this is kind of providing a way to do multiple submissions, or application form shares a quick glance on the differences of those, and direct claiming. Here we didn't really have too much to do, and even if you were forced to assign something, although I don't think you were, it probably either pops up like a warning if there is missing something. But now we are getting to task creation. The guide itself describes different ways to create the task itself and to find the board. But our action is to create the learning task from template, change the date placeholder to current date, and change the soup task add task completion date in title to done. Task completion date title to done. Okay, so there is a soup task, and change the soup task to done once you have made your task from template and change the date. Picture is a test showing a task on the board, but it doesn't show the template task. Perhaps this is enough. I noticed Gorga went ahead and did something, so let's see. Did you have it similar done? Yep, there is a date of current day. This is not done, but maybe I'm not refreshed. So there are two ways to actually change it. I don't think the guide shows it, but either if you click on the status itself, you can change stuff here. Or if you another way, you click into that, and then it opens as a normal task and change status here. Yep, this task is here. And we have, so the first thing was to create that task and change the date of that template. You change the date, but here only the signing and changing this to done is not to be done. But this is a small thing. So let's move to the next step. And now it talks about tags, how to manage tags, and what they are for. I'm not sure if you have any action. Okay, in your learning task, create and apply relevant tags to your task. Update that tags to tasks to done. So, yeah, what are the relevant tags? Is now actually you to decide.
I think Malik already jumped ahead.
If you assign yourself a learner, we don't really have many options here. I'm wondering if did we say we didn't even say that what is what tags we kind of need.
Actually, I was trying to follow the subtasks that were written in the template. Sorry about that.
Oh yeah, but that's add audited tag to task. Yeah, that's one thing to do. But how did you know to add a learner tag? I think we did something with that tag at some point, but I don't remember anymore if that's a requirement. And funnily enough, on the guide itself, we don't even say that this is a tag. It's to say education and tasks related to teaching, training, and learning. But we don't say learner, which is used tag for many. I don't know, what was this clear? I see that you were able to just add a tag. So is the lesson fine itself?
Yeah, actually, the tags were popping up. So I picked up from one of them. I didn't go through that lesson, tags lesson.
So you just use the suggested tags. But yeah, well, it is relevant and it is correct. But I'm not sure if everybody is able to kind of do that without reading a guide and not quite specifically saying that. Yeah, one. Gorga, what did you do with the task labels? Nothing. You only added a lot of dates on the subtasks, which wasn't needed at all. You added most of the stuff done, but you didn't do any of this. So, well, we do the task date, correct? Add tags to task, you don't have any. Add audited tag to task, you don't have it. Add task points on your time you spent to complete the task, you have none. Move task in the event that's also incorrect, you have it in done. So, Gorga, you have a little bit jumped too much ahead. We are right now in the task tagging, and that is missing for you.
That's this thing to done. I didn't do that when I created my task initially. That
Here we see it's done.
yes, I just did that. That's what I wanted to do in first. So
Okay.
I'm tagging now. I'm trying to get by.
So so far, do you have had any issues with the guide, or is it all available?
So yeah. So I think the guide doesn't have some things. So because like when I moved it to done and I submitted, it popped up the approved how will I call it? Since I'm also a reviewer, since I did assign and I'm an assignee and also a reviewer, I think it popped up there either should I approve this submission or reject. It didn't, so that's not on the guide. I don't think it's on the guide. So it didn't show that when you move it to done and that it's a submission, and since you're also a reviewer, you would have to either approve and.
But the thing is, you don't move any tasks to done on board. You only change this subtask status to done.
Yeah.
That case,
well, that wasn't highlighted. Like this pop-up box that pops up, it wasn't highlighted in the whether to approve or reject that subtask submission. It wasn't captured in the. Yeah, it wasn't captured in the documentation. Okay, so I'm going through the documentation for creating tags. Yeah.
Step back to this task creation step. So the goal is to click the learning task from task template. You did that. Change date, place order the current date. You did that. Change the subtask, add task clarification to title to done.
Yes.
And you did that. But
Yeah.
that's it. This is all of this lesson. Was there somewhere else?
The task to on the board to do.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I think there are some details, key details missing in that tax creation documentation. Like maybe because when you move that to done, I think it moves it to done, and again it doesn't show that box I told you that pops up. Because it didn't move it straight to done until I approved it as an approver, as a reviewer, then it moved it to done.
But did you move it to done, or the Tevo moved it to done?
Dework moved it to done after approved after I had approved that submission, the submission of the add this thing, it now moved it to done on the board.
Maybe it is because of your reviewer.
I think so. I think because I'm a reviewer, that's why it moved after I approved it. Because if you look at the steps, the submission steps, you see after I approved that submission, it moved it to done. And look at the time stamp on those actions. They are basically the same time. 307, 307, basically same time. So.
I will try to go through this thing myself and see if I can do it also. So you say add task to done. If you put that to done, then it automatically asks to approve it. And no, it didn't. Okay, so this is not how you did it. So maybe you went into the title and you say done.
No. And that's no. And what I did. So I clicked on the subtask and turned it to done.
Okay.
The subtask.
Yeah.
One subtask.
Yes, I did it. So I changed it to done.
Yeah. So when I clicked on the subtask here, I clicked on it and it asked me. It showed the option to do in progress, in review, done. Then I clicked done. I didn't go to this. I didn't go to the status bar to change it there to done. So on this circle beside the circle beside the checkbox beside here, when you click on the checkbox, it gives you option yes. When I clicked done here, it asked. I now submitted work. I think that's the step I did that prompted that stuff. So it was,
if you submit work, yes, but we don't do any submission. Yeah, and if you approve here, then it moves to done, right?
It moves to done, yeah.
Yeah, but this is totally unrelated though. So maybe there is there somewhere in the guide that says that make a submission?
No. And that's why. So when I got there, I was a bit confused whether I'm supposed to just leave it at that or submit work. So because I didn't see any other option, I just said, okay, let me try that submit work.
Yeah, the only thing you have like 3 action items are here. Only changing the subtask to done, only changing the date, and creating the task, basically. These are the only things you need to click. All the other information is not saying that you need to do any other stuff. So yeah, ignore the submission part. If it's not in guide, it's not meant for us.
Yeah. So I think it was the submit work that moved it to done.
I already made them.
Okay, let's see. So you have tags also, and now you have date, and everything is as expected. Although you did change it to done and then back to the you can see that here. Okay, so Gorga is up to date. Malik was already up to date, so we're waiting only for Effiom, and Mikasa just joined us. Welcome. So that stage, we have only 2 assignments left. Let's see if we can do it between 3 of us who are at this stage. So now, how to manage tasks. Introduction. This lesson focuses on movements of tasks with Tevo and covers entire task movement processes. And this one explains to do, in progress, review, done. So even though we already did subtask, like changing subtasks, and now it explains the board task movements. So move your learning task to in review section, update the subtask on learning task related to state change. Yeah, okay, so there is a subtask with a state change. So basically this should be in review and then move task to in review. Yeah, okay, so a bit misunderstanding there then. Effiom, you changed the subtask on learning task related to staging. Okay, so move your learning task to in review section. So the learning task is this. The entire task is a learning list. I see they moved it in review and to update the outlet. Maybe this is better if we say exactly what you need to change it. So what it meant to say is basically when you after move it to in review, change your subtask to done. And that's also a cool question. If I can see if people are changing statuses on their tasks or subtasks, check it. So if I look at this, do I see when did you do it? Created status sheet. Oh, that's nice. So if somebody is asynchronously doing, we could clearly see in what sequence is doing stuff and is really able to follow the guide. Said to you before and said to you again, your task is not done. There is nowhere in the guide that says put task points, or maybe there is, that could be an issue, but also every guide says that you need to change the status of your subtask in sequence. I mean, the sequence doesn't matter right now, but in the future, the ideal is that you follow the guide step by step, make sure that guide is followable, because we are here right now creating the guide. We are not just students, we have actually building.
All right. So I change the subtext status firstly into done.
Yeah, so the first task you was supposed to do was change the date and this task to done, either by like what I did here or by going in the task and changing done. None of these tags on subtasks and task points on subtasks are necessary. You don't even have to assign yourself. Yes, did you do that?
So Tevo, another thing I don't know, but I'm just thinking out loud. I think the word state might be a little bit confusing because when you open the tax itself, a learner might be looking for states because what we have there is status. So I know state
yes.
State is explaining where the task is at the moment, but what you change is the status basically to move it from you change the status to move it from one state to the next. So I think in that whole document there is no word like status at any point in time. So I think that's something that you need to find a way to include so that
So I will look for all of these things and make sure they are all named the same way they are written in here. Status. We have 5 minutes left. I would say, Gorga, you kind of, with the way you are doing your task, you're kind of dropped off. Let's see if we can finish Malik and Effiom entire course with these 5 minutes. Because we are very, very close. Well, Effiom, you didn't add the in status for the subtask, I can see. Well, yeah, so, but in general, you moved it into review. The next step, let's see. How to measure tasks. So the final, I think it is the final, is to add the task points. Task point system is a way to measure effort invested into task. It reflects the amount of work that hours spent. Okay, yeah, so this describes what the means and tokens are, how the task points are used. Add task points based on the time you spent learning background knowledge, including audited tag background knowledge. So background knowledge is this this maybe requires a bit of explaining.
Another thing I just noticed is, I think it's now I understand the titles of each subtask. So basically, each subtask you're meant to move them from to done when you complete each of the learning modules, basically. Because I can see there were some that I didn't, but I'm trying to go back in the documentation to see if that was clear enough, because I don't think that was clear enough, you know. So because even for, it's just now when I wanted to do tax point that I realized that, oh, every other thing was supposed to have been done. Like the first subtax, when I created the tax, that was the first subtax I was supposed to be done.
But coming back to the task points, both only Malik and Effiom, how much did it took you to do this task? I guess we can put the session time, like we started like 1 hour ago, and then add audited tag on it, and this notif. And I guess this rest of the stuff, don't read it. This is too confusing. But what it's meant to say is that now the treasury will take it over. After that, it says you learn to use the Dework. We have an assignment page. I'm now forgotten what it says. Are you ready to create a lot of different banks? In this module, you learned about different features Dework offers to manage tasks. Commit to this assignment if you have created Dework test by following learning targets. This module is not yet unchanged. So yeah, basically this is a placeholder, because if I am let's check it. Yeah, Andamio is down, so we cannot really do any on-chain credentialing. And it's all anyway, it's not on main chain, it's on the correct route. So we kind of reached to the end. So I'm just gonna check one last time if Effiom and Malik has everything in correct order, and if it does, then next week you will be rewarded for your time. We first time then get some averages in, and you are ready for next quarter if you want to do treasury operations. Yep, all done here. One task, tax, date, and in review. So you are correctly done. And Effiom, in this time, tax, date, task point. Yep, this is done. Didn't need to add the assignee to the subtest, but it's fine. Yes, you are kind of. Again, you added some kind of dates and assignees, not needed. But in general, you are, yeah, you just finished task tagging. It seems that, but you do have task points. So you're somewhere in the middle, not fully done. So if you are able to asynchronously continue, if not, in 2 weeks we join again. And whoever is in here and haven't finished it, I will help them go through this, aside from the contribution dynamics we are doing. Okay, with this, I guess we can conclude the session. We did spend a little bit more time. I assume we can push it to the end, but it took even 20 minutes there. So we skipped a bit of retrospective, but we did get a lot of action items to work for the next session. I just realized I still kept recording. For ending the session, my head is already lost. It's good enough.